Starting off today with this kind of, well, we played this archetype a little bit in the past, but this build is pretty different. Um, so going into MH3, a lot of people are like, ooh, Narcomoeba Prized Amalgam with Flare of Denial. That's going to be a thing for sure. And striking the right balance in this deck has been very difficult, and I think this is part of the reason why we haven't seen this archetype do very well, is because it is very difficult to build. In addition to Flare of Denial, Flare of Malice is also like a pretty interesting option. I have them in the sideboard for today. But the way, kind of taking inspiration from the Demir Basim list, which is like been doing really well for Force, for Subtlety, and a lot of card advantage, I wanted to lean in a little bit more into Deep Analysis plus Sneaky Snacker. I love that you can mill over both of these and then return your Sneaky Snacker if you flashback Deep Analysis, and then Deep Analysis is like raw card draw, lets you play a lot of the pitch cards, not just Flare of Denial, but also Force and Subtlety. And I think that trying to just be like an aggro deck with Vengevines and Stitch Suppliers and then the Adventure Crab that mills you. I think that those decks are not very good. I think that they have been not very good for a while. I think Buried Alive is also really slow if you played in these decks. So and I think like the real strength of this archetype is the ability to draw a lot of cards with Psychic Frog, Deep Analysis, Satoru, and then have a bunch of 0-mana counterspells. And then 0-mana Flare of Malice is post board. And so it's like if this is the strength of the deck, I think I just really want to lean into that. I really want to lean into this aspect of draw a lot of cards, hold up a bunch of counter spells, beat down with prized amalgams and little flyers and psychic frogs. Playing a bunch of Undercity Sewers too. I was even thinking about playing the fourth copy of Undercity Sewers. Only playing 3 right now. Could end up going up to 4. But I think that this is a better direction for the archetype to go in. I don't think that the Vengevines, Bloodghast. I mean, Bloodghast is good, but I think if you're leading into these, Bloodghast is a lot worse. And you have Snacker and Narcomoeba to bring back your prized amalgams. But if you're leading into these counter spells, instead of the like slow, clunky aggro elements, I think that's gonna be a bit better. And it's also gonna make you a lot better post board against Graveyard Hate. So let's jump in. But there's still so much to cook with MH3, you know? Okay, let's keep this hand. Not sure if I want to put back the Narcomoeba or save it to pitch to Subtlety in this spot. Probably good to just put it back. I tested Blue Black Inverted Flare last night, deck as promised. Yeah, I think the deck looked good, Simon. I'm glad that it's going well for you. I was thinking about that deck yesterday, too. Graveyard another Delta here. The new Prowess Mouse seems cool. The blue-red one. That card is cool. I agree. Let's not Subtlety this. Save it for a Bowmaster, maybe. Alright, another land. Now, I've been a little stuck on, like, I see a lot of people respond to the fetch land trigger here with another fetch, but I feel like I want to be able to like hit a Narcomoeba, then respond and be able to mill over a prized amalgam. Maybe it's just the same. I see a lot of people responding in these spots. We mill over a deep analysis, another deep analysis. Sneaky Snacker could be nice here. I'll take another crab. A-Deck with the 6 months. Hope you're doing well. Appreciate you. How do we know about Nadu's execution today? Okay, chat. Media literacy time. It says Nadu's getting banned for sure. Parentheses, real, not clickbait. What do you... I don't know. It's a stream go live notification. Media literacy, I don't know. Maybe I should change it. Oh, I haven't seen this card. Alright, 2-mana 2/2. Haste Prowess. Whenever a challenger becomes target of spell or ability you control for the first time each turn, exile top card of library, play that card this turn. You control. But it would be funny if it happened today. So I do have my third Undercity Sewers in the graveyard already. The card does work with mutagenic growth and Flashback Lava Dart on it. Okay, there's a sneaky snacker, so if I flash back this Deep Analysis, I get back a snacker, and then consequently a Prized Amalgam. Maybe they would Force of Negation this? You know, I kind of like that card. Okay, so they do Force of Negation, they pitch a Preordain. So I could probably take one more hit off this Nethergoyf. Not trying to be funny, not trying to get a laugh. Don't want anybody to have the worst day job. I fear you should be unbanned. Alright, yes, everybody please lobby for what you want to happen. This is kind of the, I don't know. I'm kind of memeing on y'all with the whole banlist conversations nonstop. Alright. Flashback Deep Analysis. We'll have Flare of Denial up on their turn. 2 Prized Amalgams and a Sneaky Snacker. Alright, well. Typically would want to mill over those, but we can play it out as a chump blocker for the Nethergoyf this turn. Out of Deep Analysis, though. Okay, I'm going to counter this. I think I'm sacking the Snacker. Well, no, Tamio. She was thinking natural fit Tamio. I had 4 Tamio, but I ended up feeling like I was very excited. I started with 4 Tamio. There just didn't seem like there was room to play. This is the problem with this archetype is that the deck is very full. There's not a ton of wiggle room. It'd be kind of interesting if I'm attacking or not here. Obviously, they have a lot more life points than I do. They also still have 1 card in their hand. Seems like I'll be attacking. Crab deck needs a ton of mill hits to be good. Do you think we don't have a ton of mill hits, or what are we saying? Do you test this off stream much? A little bit. It seemed pretty good. Yeah, could play like 3 matches. I did a lot of deck building last night. All right, no attacks for our opponent. Oh, that was about Tomio. Yeah. With Tomio, it's tough to include. True. Good way to turn. Feels kind of safe to attack. They consider Bloodgust. I considered Bloodgust in my Crab deck. Yeah. But I ended up feeling like I went over this in the deck tech, but I wanted everything to sack to Flare. I wanted every card to pitch to Subtlety and Force of Negation, since this is a deck that, we only have 4 discard outlets, and so like usually it's really tough to draw all these Narcomoebas and stuff and the Prized Amalgams, but you kind of get to mitigate that just because you get to draw into so many of these effects. Okay, I guess I'll just play a snacker. I wanna have pitch Force of Negation up still. If you draw them, you get to pitch them, which significantly reduces like the stress on some of these cards, especially when surveilling, especially when a big part of this archetype is like just not having that many discard effects. So being able to pitch them all is really relevant, and we have 16 cards to mill over with Crab. We have a Deep Analysis, Prized Amalgam, Sneaky Snacker, Narcomoeba, and I felt like this was a pretty good number to have. Obviously, if you could just have more, it'd be nice, but it's kind of hard to balance like the enablers, the payoffs, and the pitch cards. I don't think you could really play. I know there isn't really room to play more, if that makes sense. Okay, this Murktide may be tough to beat. 6/6. I do have another Sneaky Snacker in the yard, so this will bring that back. Assuming it resolves. Breakthrough isn't legal. Interesting tank on that counterspell. How necessary are the subtlety? If someone saw you playing careful study over subtlety, would you call them crazy? I would call them a cheater if they were playing careful study over subtlety. Since that card is not legal. I think the subtleties are good. I think you want to play all the pitch spells. So they can't quite fly the frog. Okay, so they can fly the frog next turn. So if I pay 3 life... Ah, it's so awkward. If I pay 3 life to this deep analysis, I go to 2, and then my opponent can just discard their card, and then fly the frog, and have 2 lethal flying attackers, and my snackers enter tapped. Spike, I like the snacker. No, I hate this card. I have 4 copies of it in my deck. Alright, I'm going to attack for 9 first. I considered Charter Course a card not good enough for Pioneer must be in the deck. Interesting thought. Yeah, so my opponent goes down to 6. And I think so. So if I play both of these, I lose to top deck removal spell. But that seems better than just trying to like have to hit another Narcomoeba off after I like draw land off deep analysis. And like mill it over with Crab. We only have 1 Narcomoeba left in the deck. And my opponent, you know, they've hit every top deck the last couple turns. You know, got a lot of dead draws. If I was going to play another self-build card, what would I play? I feel like every option sucks. Yeah, every option does suck, which is why I'm not playing another mill card. The next best is probably Glimpse or Otherworldly Gaze. I don't really like these cards very much. And kind of like the idea here to some extent is that you know, every card in your deck is somewhat hardcastable. You're going to be playing a lot of games. You're just hardcast forces, hardcast flares, hardcast subtleties. Especially post-board versus graveyard hate. What do I die to removal? Because my opponent can... Oh, sorry, they can't... You're right. Sorry, for some reason I was thinking that this was just always a lethal attacker, but obviously this is only a lethal attacker if they discard their card for turn, so... Never mind. Well, I guess if I just attack with everything, my opponent dies. Unless they have exactly Orcish Bowmaster. But it's not like I'm going to flashback Deep Analysis first to play around Orcish Bowmaster. I guess they have Subtlety too. Okay. They don't have either of those, and we win game 1. So I want to bring in the Flare of Malice in this matchup, probably. And I don't know if I'll probably also bringing in the pushes. And then moving away from the Force of Negations. You had 5. Oh, right. I was also thinking... Oh, sorry, I forgot my life total was also higher if I didn't flashback the Deep Analysis. Alright. Good morning. Maybe I'll play just 1 push? 2 push? I think I want 2 push. Could you land on the draw? I don't mind that. Our curve is pretty low. Played your 6 green flare build. I was wondering, do you ever sideboard anything? Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes, like, I'll bring in Stonebrain. Sometimes I'll bring in... I'll bring in some of the tutor targets if I feel like Karn will still be really good in the matchup, and the card I'm bringing in will also be good to draw. Is maybe like just a way to phrase that heuristic. I think we keep hands like this. Spike, there's never for Bloodghast. I don't think so. I would. What would you cut to add Bloodghast Bolt? I considered Bloodghast, of course, but I think that Bloodghast is worse than Narcomoeba. It's worse than Deep Analysis. It's worse than Sneaky Snacker in this deck because of the Deep Analysis, and you want to play Deep Analysis because of all the pitch cards. I think it's worse than Prized Amalgam. So if you know, how would you include Bloodghast in the deck? What card would you cut? All right, Nethergoyf, not going to subtlety that. Just thinking about playing around a discard spell versus playing around a removal spell. I'm going to play around... I'm just going to play this turn 1 and play around a removal spell. I think if they had a discard spell, there's a good chance they would have played it turn 1 instead of the Nethergoyf. Yeah, so Colosseum is kind of weird, right? Where it's like, you can either play 4 Cephalid Colosseum and have 4 less fetch lands in the deck, which is going to make you... This is going to make you a lot worse to trigger your crab, and you're going to be able to Undercity Sewer less often too. And Undercity Sewer is just so good in the deck. And so like all of your fetch lands are utility lands. So I was kind of preferring just playing this like fetch land mana base, but I certainly think you could. I certainly think you could not. Okay, mill over a Snacker and a Satoru and a Subtlety. First call seems right either way. Yeah, like what card would you cut? Yeah, you could play it. You could play it. Maybe you should play it. Okay, there's also Prized Amalgam now. I think we gotta graveyard this, just dig a little bit deeper for deep analysis or Psychic Frog, another crab. Could you play Colosseum and Hollow in a deck? In a deck, but it's just a different build. You have to play Burning Inquiry probably with Hollow One. Street Wraith. It's just a different deck. So they do find their second land. Fortunately, they have a Nile Spellbomb. They pop it main phase, so not the end of the world. Trim one fetch for one Colosseum if you're going that route with Crab only self-mill, so not a free choice might seem first glance. Yeah, and also again every fetch land can grab it Undercity Sewers. So it's like all the fetch lands are just so good. Like I would maybe honestly just play the fourth sewer before the first Colosseum. Pop out with the Twitch Prime, think you will come back. Not definitely, but it just does seem like it would be kind of reasonable, right? Let's play Satoru here. I'm gonna go ahead and just main phase Surveillance because I hit Narcomoeba, get to draw a card. We have the Subtlety to also trigger the Satoru in this spot. Definitely gonna keep a frog. Okay, I'm gonna add text on the screen. If you want to add Bloodghast, what card would you cut? I'm gonna write that on the screen. If you want to add Bloodghast, parentheses, or another card, tell me what you'd cut for it. Please, thanks, love ya. Or just stop answering those questions. Well, I don't like to just, you know, completely ignore everybody, but it's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot of why no Bloodghast, so this will be good to have on the screen. Yeah, Bloodghast is also, it's a Nightmare card, for sure, I think. Or a card you want to play with Nightmare. I like Ghast over Sniker, but I guess it's for Blue Flare and Deep Analysis. Yeah, it is. It's like the Deep Analysis is very important to play all these pitch cards. And if you think that, then the Snacker is very important for Deep Analysis. And so, at that point, you're just playing, and you're also playing Blue Flare, so Snacker is better than Bloodghast in this context. But in general, of course, that's not the case. Boo. Spell Snare, boo. Alright, I don't have another Deep Analysis. Okay, get in for 2. Is Buried Alive into Narco double amalgam in consideration? I would love to have Buried Alive plus a Toro in this list. It's just too high on the mana curve, I think. Like it's too high on the mana curve. And it doesn't. At the very least, it also doesn't fit the pitch spell plan that well because you have to play Bloodghast and you play all these black cards, and without Satoru, you're not drawing cards off that. And so I feel like it may be a little off plan, and it may be a little. All right, let's go for Flare of Malice this turn. It's higher on the mana curve. Like you kind of want to play 21 lands if you have Buried Alive in your deck, but I would love it. And I started off the deck here. Like there are tons of cards you can play. Main deck Flare of Malice, Bloodghast, Stitcher Supplier, Glimpse the Unthinkable, Buried Alive. There's a lot of Otherworldly Gaze. A lot of cards you can play, but they don't all fit into one deck. So you have to make some sacrifices. Maybe I could have played around this by casting Amalgam. Have we tried Red Flare with Phoenix yet? No, I've been wanting to. I've been working on Red Flare. um, rough. Could you do 1x Narcomoeba so you get 7 power turn 3 and a blocker? Well, we have. It's not. You could do that. You could do that. There's been a lot of talk about building the deck that way. I just don't. I'm just saying I don't know that it's optimal. Okay, so 2 cards. I'm gonna not fetch because maybe I just want to cast Deep Analysis here. Go to 1. Playing the Amalgam and sacking it to draw a card seems better. Yeah. Why? I don't know why you think that draws a card. So if you sack it to Flare of Malice. What matchup is Subtlety for? Free cards are good. There's not too many matchups where it's just even bad, but it, besides like maybe Ruby Storm. Card's just pretty good. Why did we cast nothing last turn? I cast the Flare of Malice last turn. I was trying to hold it up. I was playing around my opponent just having counter spells, not removal spells, and I was wanting to cast the Flare of Malice on their turn to tax their mana. But they had Drown in the Lock, which is both a counter spell and a removal spell, which really got me there. Okay, we're gonna give him 3. Maybe I do need some Force of Negations for the Nile spell bombs. I think on the play we can do that over the flares. Maybe play 3/3. I think this is like really only good against Nile Spellbomb. Consign also counters the. Oh no, it's an activated ability. The draw is the triggered ability. Guess do 3/3. No Dauthi's not against them. Like we're trying to stop them from interacting with us, not the other way around. I don't know if that makes sense. Let's give this one a go. Dauthi or MTGO. If you could bring in Dauthi, but it's going to die to their fatal pushes, and I think it's just a bit more important that you maintain the ability to stop them from interacting with us than like play this proactive threat. But I would love to hear what you would cut for Dauthi Voidwalker if you would like to bring it in. But it just tends to not be a very good card against these kind of decks. They just have so many ways to deal with it effectively. Question for deck building process before bringing a deck to a stream, how much you test? It depends. This deck probably took me 3 hours total. Some decks get ready faster, some decks get ready slower. It just kind of depends. And that's like combined deck building and playtesting and goldfishing. Okay, take that. Sometimes they're ready faster. A lot of times with MH3, I just want to start jamming quickly because I haven't played with a lot of the cards. Pre-MH3, it's like a lot more off-stream testing because I've played with all the cards, but just like getting to play cards for the first time on stream, I think ends up being interesting enough to do a lot of this on stream for the first time. Boo. When do VODs go up on YouTube? It just kind of depends. I have an editor that takes care of it, but you can watch the VODs on Twitch for free. So land would be good here. We get Deep Analysis, bring back Frog, have Flare of Malice up. A lot of good spells to draw too. They do put the Frog on top. So I guess we can just try to Flare of Denial next turn. Shocks and Watery Grave. Low to draw an untapped land. 2 cards in their hand. Right on type, Hedron Crab. Could play Bloodgust on the board. Bloodgust on the board is pretty funny because people are just going to bring in a lot of graveyard hate against you already. But I think seeing a suggestion for Bloodgust on the sideboard probably means the main deck's pretty well built. Okay, discards a Darkslick Shores, hits me for 2 down to 17. 2 cards in hand after that. No. Rough top decks. If my Frog just resolved and got Fatal Pushed instead, we'd be in such good shape. Now we're very cooked against the Bowmaster. All right, move on to game match 2. We played a lot of like the red white X energy decks. We didn't play too much of it, but it was just like we played the Celestia build on Monday and it did pretty well, and then it seemed like the Naya build is better, and I think it's still better, but not super meaningfully different. I think I'm gonna go to 5 here. Can you show sideboard away from that? You can go exclamation point deck and take a look at the sideboard. Okay, okay, a no lander here. Okay, another no lander. I'm going to 3. 20 lands in the deck. Okay, I think I'm just going to try to pretend like I'm a different deck and just see what they're on, and I can know how to sideboard. But I'm not planning to be able to win this game. I need to know if they're Gorios or Dimir Frog or Mildo before I do anything else. Alright, same matchup. -4 Flare of Denial, +4 Bloodghast. I feel like Flare of Denial is one of the best cards in the deck, but thank you for the suggestion. Okay, let's just not have the pushes in, maybe. Go -2. Cutting a land is probably maybe something we should try to avoid. On the play. Keeping this one. Should probably play some Colosseum. So we've been talking about Colosseum. I kind of think every fetch land is better than any Colosseum, is my current thinking. It's just every fetch land has the ability to trigger Crab twice and has the ability to be a Surveil land. And I even think that if I was going to cut a fetch land for a Colosseum, there's a good chance it would just be better to cut a fetch land for the 4th Surveil land. I've seen Colosseum in action some, and it's like it gets online kind of late, and it isn't exactly that impressive when it does, but it does trigger Sneaky Snacker, so maybe it is good. But I have not been particularly impressed seeing it in action, and I tend to think it's maybe a little overrated. Like, look at this, just like, ooh, free Prized Amalgam here. So I don't know. Certainly seems like a reasonable plan, though. I agree. What about cutting Snacker for Bloodghast? I think Snacker is better than Bloodghast in the stack. It gets returned by Deep Analysis. Deep Analysis is really important for the pitch cards, and it also sacks to Flare. And also pitches to all the blue cards. With the Prized Amalgam there, I'm going to pitch the Subtlety over the Flare. No. You have another Frog. Frog, a lot better against the red decks. How high am I on the Bloomblower Archaeologist? I think that card's going to enable a lot of like Flare of Denial brews, which I'm excited about. Oh, graveyarding the other Surveil land stuff here. Better or worse than Archaeologist? It's different. It sees an extra card. It is upside in the late game. It's a wizard for Flame of Venor. Archaeologist puts cards in the graveyard, which is very relevant in a lot of matchups. Got a second push. Okay, so we can fly over this Death Shadow. I guess let's play a Crab first. Two Flare of Malice down. I want to untap land in case I Deep Analysis into something. Okay, Deep Analysis. I want to do this main phase because I can discard the Frog, of course. Okay. So let's go ahead and jump the Frog. I've already drawn 3 cards this turn, so drawing a card with the Frog won't let me return the Snacker. May want to pitch it to Force this next turn. -1 Deep Analysis, -1 Satoru, -2 Force, +4 Bloodghast. That's the suggestion. I think I'm going to keep those other cards in, but You could do that. I think I really like having the 12 pitch cards at the moment. But a good suggestion, I think. Alright, so we're gonna take 6. Dodged a Murktide Regent. I don't think there's a huge difference between me. I mean, obviously, like if they just can't. No, I'm gonna be hitting them. So just like I'm just dead to the Death Shadow hit. So I think I might as well shock. There's a sneaky snacker. Just attacking first. So this is my second card this turn. Another crab, huh? Seems unlikely to die to 2 removal spells since we have a Force of Negation up here. Would Nether Grave please be true in the graveyard combined with Frog? I just don't think there's room, but I don't. No, I wouldn't. It would be, it'd be fine. Okay, so after mulling to 3 game 1, seeing only 1 or 0 landers, we've won game 2. Do you think Emery is overall more viable in Modern as a value engine with Kappa Cannon or Legal? Tommy making Mox Amber package looking together better. So we top 8'd the last Modern challenge. We played with 4 Emery in our deck, but it was not. We had 0 Kappa Cannoneers. We had 4 Basim. I think Basim is the bigger deal for me. Basim and Tomio let you play this Basim, Emery, Tomio, Mox Amber package. It's nice, and you could play Kappa Cannoneer and more artifact stuff, but you just don't really need to. And I've been kind of happy to not play Kappa Cannoneer in that deck. Is there an announcement of a feeling? I don't know. I kind of just didn't know what to put as the go live notification. And I thought I would goof around a little bit. But yeah, there's been no news, so I'm kind of also goofing around on the fact that there's been a shocking amount of no news still. All right, keeping this. Aren't pushes good for Shadow? I don't think we really care about Death Shadow that much. Like you saw that game, it just gets really gummed up on the ground. I think I care more about their flyers, their Murktide Regents, which is why I brought in Flare instead of push. But it's good. It's important to have some Force Negations for their Nile spell bombs, I would think. Yeah, the second I get the subs to Dingo, they're gonna do the ban announcement. Okay, now that I have something good to discard, play the Frog. I can also go at Crab plus Frog next turn for kind of an efficient turn. +1 lands, +4 black gas, 65 card main deck. What's funny is we've actually done that. we've done like literally that. Yeah, my bet with Dingo's on the 17th, so 6 days. If Nadu is still legal in Modern in 6 days, I owe Dingo 100 gifted subs. Narcomoeba was so much worse in hand than Bloodghast. Oh, which of these pitch to your Force of Negations and Subtleties? which of these pitch to your 8 blue pitch cards? Casting Bloodghast is not that good. Discarding it to Frog is good though. And they take another Frog. 4 cards in their hand. Playing a Surveillant. Hey, well, I trimmed all those cards. Well, yeah, it's also like here's the thing about this archetype. If you can't play all these pitch cards, I just think the archetype probably sucks. It's like there's a reason like this deck is like the aggro builds aren't doing that well. The deck is like slow and inconsistent and fragile, and so I think kind of the only direction you can really go is to be really in on the pitch cards. At least this is my current impression. Okay, unfortunately, no good mills there. They only got 3 cards in their hand. Okay, 3 cards in their hand. Deck tech for George. Drowns the Crab. 2 cards in their hand. Big draw for me. We'll take it. The Nightmare is a different build. Oh, so I was actually talking to Dingo about a deck like this. Okay. I'm very surprised you're not playing the Blue Moon card. You have 2 in the sideboard. So for me, when we were talking about this deck, when we were thinking about this deck, like the main thing that was interesting was getting to main deck 4 copies of Harbinger of the Seas and like this kind of mono blue shell, and we thought that was kind of interesting when I was talking to Dingo about it. As it stands, your card quality is very, very low, like unnecessarily too low. Like there's no reason to not have Murktide in the deck. There's no reason to play Terramander. That card is so bad. I hate Terramander so much. Terramander is like my least favorite card ever. Or one of them. It's just so unplayable. It's so much worse than Murktide. Playing too many lands, like not playing any Preordains is probably wrong. Yeah, I would main deck 4 Harbinger of the Seas, and I've been kind of stuck on what my creature suite is in this deck, and like I've been kind of struggling with the fact that I don't know. It's like the mono blue mana base in theory is really cool. In practice, I don't know that it actually makes that much sense to really be this in on. Let's go ahead and just pass here. I'm pretty sure there's a better Ninja of the Deep Hours now, or I guess I think of the Dimir one. Maybe it's Sea Dash or Octopus. Delver's pretty bad. Disrupting Shoal's not that good. A lot of problems with this archetype. Alright, let's just try to bring the Snacker back with this. Sea Dasher is a Nambo Tamio now. I mean, so is Ninja of the Deep Hours, I think. Maybe it's fine. Just look at the trigger. Maybe it's okay. I don't know. It's tough. I would mean there 4 Harbingers. I would have 4 Murktides. I'd have 4 Preordains. And I'm also kind of stuck on the archetype. I would play Dismember over Vapor Snag. Maybe 1 Vapor Snag, but the problem with Vapor Snag is not that good. That would be the main issue, I think, with Vapor Snag, is it's not good. I think I'm going to cast Flare of Denial instead of Force of Negation to play around top deck's Nile Spellbomb. Could end up coming to bite me in the butt, because just being able to counter creatures is a really big deal. But if they win this fight with their last card in top deck top deck Nile Spellbomb and stuff. Consign to memory of my sneaky snacker trigger. Welcome to Modern. Welcome to Modern. Narcomoeba can only trigger off Crab, 4 in the deck. Bloodghast can be discarded milled by 12 cards in the deck. Yeah, Narcomoeba can also be pitched to 8 cards in the deck, so that's also 12. I hope that makes sense, right? If you draw them, you just pitch them. And Narcomoeba is like way better to mill over when you have Satoru in your hand. You know, and like obviously Bloodghast is castable, but like, or a little bit better to cast a Narcomoeba, but it's not good to cast a Bloodghast. Like it's not a very good thing to do unless you have like Phyrexian Tower. Am I playing as if having Counterspell there or not cast Narco? Yeah, I'm gonna hard cast the cards in my hand. Right? Or sorry. That last turn I couldn't. Sorry, with 2 men up. I wanted to be able to pitch the Narcomoeba last turn. I wanted to be able to Flare of Denial like a Murktide and then Force of Negation, pitching Narcomoeba against a Counterspell. Maybe going to 3 was a mistake. Yeah, I was actually just thinking about this. Because I would have been able to like flash it back, get back Snacker and Prized Amalgam. I guess I'll still keep it on top. and be able to do that next turn. Was Crab good in Peskin? Crab is really uncuttable in this deck. I had I really wanted to play 4 Tomio in this deck. I was super excited about it, but it just doesn't fit. I would play Bloodghast over Tomio. Tino with the continue the gifted sub. Very cool to see. Abe with the 2 months. Appreciate you. Theo with the 17. A lot of subs all at once. Appreciate you. Subtlety. I just don't think there's a big reason to cast the Subtlety. They get a Bowmaster. Sacred Foundry go. It's really bad if they kill my crab. I'm gonna surveil turn 1. Oh, so you know what? Sorry, this is my only fetch land. I should just play the crab. Is Commandeer in the sideboard? Yeah, we'll bring him against the ring decks. Oh, it's Storm. Okay. Ral and Past in Flame. So we got a lot of pitch cards against Storm. No Gigantha is interesting. Probably supposed to keep a second crab in this spot. But I think I'm going to go just play Snacker so I can flare the Ral. Yeah, so yeah. I view Narcomoeba, Snacker, Prized Amalgam, Bloodghast. These cards are payoffs, and your enablers are Crab, Surveillance, Psychic Frog. They enable your payoffs to work. Okay, so they got 5 cards still in their hand. They lose that Past in Flames forever is a big deal. Drawing the Scalding Tarn is nice as well. So again, I think I'm supposed to wait until I see a Narcomoeba trigger to like respond to the fetch potentially. So try to mill over Amalgam in response. How do y'all do these triggers? And then you stack the Surveil last. Although I guess it's not going to trigger last because of the crab. Okay, Graveyard Deep Analysis is nice. Another Narcomoeba. So I have 2 Deep Analysis in the yard, and hopefully I can bring back a Snacker, but hopefully I can find some counterspells off the double Deep Analysis next turn. Although maybe I won't get a next turn. No Devour and updated outdraws. Yeah, we cut it for Breaker. I think Breaker's like Breaker's much better than top deck, and Devour is better in your opening hand, and so I'm not really sure what's better. Could do 2/2 maybe. You could try to rearrange things differently, but I liked having access to Sunbreaker. I don't know that you need to play 4. Okay, choose heads. They find a mountain and a glimpse. I think they still have their land they could play this turn. We're going to bring in Commandeer in this matchup. Commandeer like a Reckless Impulse seems okay. Overall, not great. I'm going to bring in the Voidwalkers, I think. Don't know if I'm going to... I might bring in like 1 Fatal Push or 2. Probably not 3. No, yeah, Commandeer is probably not correct to play. Okay, I don't think I'm beating this Past in Flames. Consign does counter Storm Trigger. Not sure if it's good enough. Yeah, it also counters Ruby Medallion, but countering Storm Trigger is not very relevant. Commandeer a Wish or something? I mean, I think commandeering one of these is kind of nice because you get the cards next turn. We have a bunch of cards that are bad to flip over it. Lost the flip. We need them to lose every flip after this, which seems just so unlikely because they have a lot more spells they'll be able to play. They lost this flip, though. Is the bird getting the hammer for sure today? Yeah. I know because I made it up. Won the flip, get the ultimate Doral. Oh, they chose not to flip. That's probably wrong. Any plans to stream a Creature Storm deck? Yes, actually. Although I don't know, it's in progress. I don't know if it'll get there. I don't know if you would count it Creature Storm. I don't see a wish. Hold on, let me pull this up. So I'm working on Emerald Medallion Landfall. This is still very much in progress. But I think there's kind of a cool shell here where Emerald Medallion, like look how beautiful all these cards are with Emerald Medallion. 1 mana, 1 mana, 1 mana, 1 mana, 1 mana. You can go like 1 mana. You can go Medallion into Lotus Cobra, then 1 mana Bestow, then make a bunch of Lotus Cobras. And then I'm trying to figure out a way to like win the game with shifting woodland after you like loop deep analysis a few times. And I don't know if the best thing is just like Goblin Bombardment. Also, what's cool is you can whatever it is, you could potentially like copy 6 and then retrace the thing with 6. Could be a thing too. But it needs a bit more work. Not there yet. Okay, so Voidwalker's coming in. Subtlety's coming out. A 2 push in. I'll trim a Satoru. Seems okay. Been playing any Amp Raptors lately? Played a Naya version of the Boros stack. Obviously, Boros is really good too. Where's the Ave? I think I might play like 5 mana Titania over Ave. Again, deck needs some work. Spent a few hours on that, or like an hour last night on that. Let's give this one a go. Is Loam with 6 something we've tested yet? Every time I play a 6 deck, people suggest putting Loam in it, but life. I think Loam is just bad in your deck unless you have Seismic Assault. I like 6 is just good on its own. If your 6 lives, it's good. It just puts lands into its hand itself, free to retrace your best thing like every turn. Loam is like just, I think, a pretty low card quality card that you do not need for the archetype. Nice to draw that. Any plans to play optimized Dimir Basimilo further? Decklist fun as heck. I'm pretty happy with where the main deck is, honestly. But I am open to working on it some more. There's the content creator thing this weekend. What is that called again? MTGO showcase something, whatever. Not the showcase. There's some tournament this weekend, and I right now I'm planning to play Dimir Basim, but I may play Eldrazi. I may play Storm. I might play Boros Energy. So thinking about it some. Okay, there's a Ritual and a Glimpse. I cast you, Narcomoeba. MTGO Creators. Oh, it is Showcase. Nice. With 6, you can retrace Endurance Evoke. Yeah, I guess so. Only on your turn, though. Is Chord of Calling in that Creature Storm deck? No, you can play Chord, maybe. Naval Pain with a 21. Thank you so much. Manamorphose and Hidden Herbalist. Yeah, we should maybe have Manamorphoses, huh? I wonder if there's a way to, like, loop them. Probably not nothing coming to mind, I guess. Don't think I'm going to force this Glimpse. Orim's Chant, Ral, Striker Ridge. I can play the Striker Ridge. Instead, they choose to Surveil and just get 3 Scions. Yeah, so yesterday with Flare of Duplication, I'm like thinking a little bit about the card. And I'm kind of thinking about how if you go turn 2 Amped Raptor into Ritual, then Flare of Duplication the Ritual, or go Burning Tree Ritual, Flare of Duplication the Ritual, you have 6 mana, and you can cast that one Chandra that like copy spells also, and there's like some nice overlap with wanting to copy spells and stuff. Can I show the green list for 2 seconds again? I'll post it when it's ready. You know what I mean? You know, you can rewind the VOD. What am I liking most about the museum? High card quality, a lot of cheap interaction. Mox Amber's been so fun in that deck too. Cast Ruby Medallion, no mana floating? They're not casting Wish this turn? Have you considered adding Bloodgust 64? Unironically, we have done that, where we played like 68 or something in an earlier build. Where I have 6/4. They cast Orim's Chant already this game, or this turn. Psychic Frog. Frog's pretty nice. Yeah, oh, yeah, maybe I should have... I didn't realize I could just cast the Orim's Chant too, huh? Maybe that was better. To, like, not attack with the Voidwalker, huh? Oopsie doopsie. I think we'll likely be okay. They have one card in their hand in addition to this wish. You know what they probably should wish for here is... Flage. And I kind of can't beat the Flage. Or I might have a hard time against Flage. I think I should just force that. Looks like it's working. Okay. Okay, so going to game 3. Get to be on the draw for... Or have to be on the draw for game 3. Seems like I like my sideboard plan. Let's run it back. Velcro with the 9 months. Hope you're doing well. You have Voidwalker? Well, that's what they're going to kill with the Flage, is the Voidwalker. Right. They might have been able to play and escape it, too. Yeah, they should have wished they didn't have a counterspell, huh? Alright, let's mulligan this one lander. Keep this 2-lander. Consign, I think the Twitch Prime. Welcome back. Hopefully we can fade the turn 2. So far, so good, although Ruby's just so scary. Shout out Bloodgas. Not playing Buried Alives. You could play Buried Alives if you wanted to. The fact that I get to Surveil probably means I'm going to play this second Narcomoeba here. Graveyard that, which can come back with Deep Analysis. Is Buried Alive meant to be in this over a number of Crab Biba? I think Crab is 1 mana, Buried Alive is 3 mana. You could play Buried Alive, though. If you would want to add it, I would love to hear what you cut for it. I think I don't counter this. This Orim's Chant's kind of scary. Kind of have to counter the Orim's Chant. Although it doesn't necessarily seem like their hand is super good. Would you still play Deerston Storm? Yeah, I've just never had like a bad experience with the cards, so it's I wouldn't cut it. I tell you what. I need to counter something soon because they might just abrade my Narcomoeba. Might be trimming some of the reanimation cards, probably down to 3 to make room. There are no reanimation cards in this deck, so I don't know what you're talking about. Alright, do you mean these? Good. Tower is just a different deck. It's the Stitcher Supplier Bloodgas build instead of this blue Counterspell focus build. We are cooked, though. Let's do one more with this deck. I got some backup decks today, too. I found in this meta speed to be extremely important, more so than the extra DRC fails. I found Strikers to perform better than SWAT. That's good feedback, and I appreciate it. My experience, honestly, is that I like with DRC. If I have DRC in turn 1, I also have Ritual, Ritual Ruby Ritual. I'm like really confident to be able to like kill my opponent on turn 2. Where Striker Rich is just like kind of like just an extra ritual in these spots on like exactly turn 1. Like it takes the place of the second ritual in those kind of hands, which is obviously nice. Okay, I want to try this Subtlety after I play Satoru. But it doesn't really feel like Striker Rich makes the deck that much faster. But maybe it does. As a pattern, do you tend to start streaming the day with more speculative brew And backup is more of a sure thing. I wouldn't. Yeah, yeah. I tend to get a little weird with it because if the more experimental deck like this one is good, it's really exciting. I can just lean into that, and then if it's not, the more stable deck, yeah, is something I like to try to follow up with. Don't always do it that way. Yeah, I mean this card is a 3-mana 2/2. Very hard to make the cut. It is a wizard. I can't think of anything super duper amazing to give flash. It's probably a lot easier to turn to a Striker Rich. That's the thing is, I don't think it's a lot easier. I think it's somewhat easier to turn to a Striker Rich. But you still win the game plenty of times on turn 2 with DRC, and DRC, the thing is, it also helps you go off turn 2. It's not like it's a card that is actively hindering your ability to combo off turn 2. The card is like actively good to go off on turn 2, and you can feel a lot more confident that you're going to not brick with DRC than with the with other stuff. But it's a conversation. Okay, block here. So I'm probably not getting a Surveil land because of deep analysis. Mill 3 lands there. Hit a Prized Amalgam, which is nothing. Then we can Subtlety Bowmaster again, potentially. I have that besides the fixed cards and Storm Deer Series trigger slots related up to over. Yeah, I agree that it's very personal preference, and it's certainly a conversation. I don't think I've seen Amalgam trigger yet. Well, we have triggered Amalgams today. I'm probably pitching this to a Subtlety here, though. Puts in his Bowmaster, 3 mystery cards. DRC is worse game 1, but better game 2 and 3. I found that post-board Striker, which is the card I board at most, it slows me down anyways. Yeah, and it's just like, I don't know, your game 1 win percentage of Storm with DRC is already so high. And if you play the Questing Druid plan, all of a sudden 4 DRC, 4 Questing Druid, if your opponent just if they like mulligan to a lock piece, you can just beat them down sometimes. So no extort. Not even a fetch land. They put the Bowmaster back on top. And then they cast it off the Amped Raptor. The Questing Druid should be played then? Maybe. I think it's pretty interesting. Block one of these things. I think I was maybe gonna be able to mill the Bowmaster with the crab next turn. Eldricken, 6 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Yeah, Frog is very good. Bowmasters is also very good against us. Life total's not that high. They get to flip the Sorin. They have to flip the Sorin, and they kill my Satoru. Maybe they kill my Frog. Kill the Satoru. Deep Analysis is, in fact, quite bad against Orcish Bowmasters. I think our chances to take this one down is low. Okay, we do get a Narcomoeba and a Prized Amalgam. We've got a Counter Magic up. It's going to be a little slow here. I think Boros Energy has the mana to support Adeline replace Carthar. You can cast Adeline, but Adeline is worse than Ranger Captain, Fable of the Mirror Breaker, Flage, Blood Moon. So I would not include it. Ranger Captain has been so good for me, especially in the Birthing Ritual build. You just like put so much power into play, and just Birthing in Ritual into Ranger Captain to time walk your opponent is so nice. So we're playing like a 6 in that Naya Energy build too. Maybe 2 6s. It's Maybe too many threes. Okay, let's take 2. Make a food token. Big draw step for me. A big draw. Let's go to game 2. I think we lose this one. Maybe we'll just go on to the Demir or the Grixis Basim Breach deck. I'm gonna bring in the Fatal Pushes. I don't know if I'm bringing Pushes and Malices in. I kind of want 1 Force of Negation for like Fable. Maybe Force isn't good. I still have Flare of Denial. I'll be running my Basim Demir deck from the challenge on my FNM. Any of those changes for I'll dog it. I wouldn't really change anything about the main deck. I would recommend finding room for an Aether Spellbomb in the sideboard. Could also main deck the Aether Spellbomb if you really wanted to. This Demir deck seems to be like really popular today. Like it would be nice to have it in against that deck, I guess. Like the big thing about Adeline being kind of playable in Modern is like it just triggers. It makes 2 humans the turn it comes down and is like pretty beefy. But if you're not playing a lot of human stuff, it's not that good. Another turn 1 no play. Frog is so good against the Boros decks when they don't have a Static Prison. It just dodges most of the stuff. Okay, Graveyard Sneaky Snacker for a little bit of value. What's my favorite Satoru deck so far? Not sure. Probably the Nightmare deck still. But if they just have Fatal Push, this is obviously brutal. Oh. Seems they don't. So now I got the X. It's a joke. The go live notification. Know what? You will never learn. It will be in the title, not the go live notification. You'll never learn anything from a Twitch streamer's go live notification. You think I won't discard my whole hand here? I can have a 3rd Galvanic Discharge. There's no way. Ah! All right, let's play the Grixis Basim deck.